Hey guys, it's Picks on the Bluff Week 17 picks. I'm your host, Richard Reed, as always. As you can see, I'm doing this by myself. This week only. Our other usual co-host is actually on vacation right now in New York City, so he'll be there until the end of this week, and then we'll be going to a ball game next week. But this is the last regular season week for NFL. Some teams are trying to just get that wild card spot, and then we have one game in the NFC that determines who gets the spot for the last remaining NFC spot for the playoffs. But as we go into this, we're going to I got my computer by my side. I'll tell you the picture who's in the hunt still, and how they can still get in it. So let's go ahead and get to the picks. Let's see. Starting off where we have all of these games are going to happen this Sunday. That would be, what is this Sunday's date? Sunday is the 31st, so the last day of 2011. And then we'll celebrate a Happy New Year. So, and then, yeah, what can you say? Happy New Year. So let's get to it. The first game is the Lions at the Packers. Let's see, both of these teams are in the playoffs, so neither of these teams are looking forward for a way to get in. Packers is my choice. I think both of these teams are strong, but I think the Packers right now have a stronger team, and neither of these teams will be playing hard, since the Packers have pretty much already got the first round bye. But I still think the Packers will win this game. Next up, we have the 49ers at the Rams. 49ers, I think, also have a first round bye in the NFC, and the Rams, who've only won 2 games, are not even close to getting in the playoffs. So that's why I think the 49ers will even play their second string a little bit, probably in the second half of this game, and still win. So 49ers is my pick. We have the Jets and the Dolphins. Now, I think the Jets had a way of getting into the playoffs. Let me clarify clinching scenarios. We have they can only clinch a wild card spot, but with they have to win. That is a must, which I'm saying they will beat the Dolphins. But they have to have either of the following scenarios: 1 Cincinnati loss plus a Tennessee loss plus an Oakland loss, or 2 Cincinnati loss plus Tennessee loss plus a Denver loss. So the AFC hunt is much more complicated than the NFC hunt right now. So let's go ahead. The Jets are my pick in this one. Next up, the Bears and the Vikings. Bears, just a stronger team. I don't see them in the playoff picture, so I'm guessing they're not making the playoffs. But they're still, but neither of these teams making the playoffs, they're both going to play out. And stronger team right now is the Bears. That's who's going to win. Bills and the Patriots. Patriots have clinched the first round bye, and it's just, it's a Bills team. What do you expect? I'm not expecting much from the Bills the last week of the season, especially against the Patriots, so the Patriots win this game. Panthers at the Saints. The Saints really just clobbered the Falcons last Monday night. You can't go much more than there. Congratulations to Drew Brees, who broke some record. I don't even remember what it was. But, put it in the comments if you know what that record was, because I don't even know what it was. But they're going to beat the Panthers this week and go into the playoffs strong. Next up, the Redskins at the Eagles. Neither of these teams making it into the playoffs. I think the Eagles, just having a much stronger team than the Redskins, will get that win. Colts at the Jaguars, another two teams not making it into the playoffs. The Colts actually coming up 2 straight wins. I thought about picking them, but of course I said at the beginning of the year. Well, it was toward the middle of the year, but Colts, I'm not going to pick the Colts in this year after I saw that Peyton Manning was going to be out all season. So holding that up this one last week with picking the Jaguars. Titans at the Texans. The Texans have clinched their place in the playoffs. They will be playing in round 1 at least. And they're playing the Titans, who have Titans are still in the hunt. They have a bunch of clinching scenarios. Let's see. They clinch a wild card spot with a win plus a Cincinnati loss plus any of the following scenarios. The Jets win and Oakland loses. That's 1. 2, the Jets win and Denver loses. Or 3, the Jets lose, the Raiders lose, and the Broncos lose. Which I don't see. Maybe the Bengals will lose. I don't see any way the Titans are going to get it with all this complicated stuff. So I don't see the Titans getting in the playoffs on the wild card. But either way, I don't pick them to win. So the Texans will win this game. Next up, Buccaneers at the Falcons. The Falcons are in the playoffs. Buccaneers are not. Falcons are a much stronger team than the Bucks, so I'm picking them. Even though the Falcons did get killed, but hey, what can you say? You know. Ravens at the Bengals. These two teams. Both these teams have a playoff spot. But the Ravens I think the Ravens having the first round bye. Either that, or the Steelers will have the first round bye. Depends on if the Bengals beat the Ravens or not. But I'm picking the Ravens over the Bengals, seeing as I think the Ravens are a much stronger team. So, Raven win here. Next up, the Steelers at the Browns. If the Ravens win, they'll have a first round bye. If the Ravens lose and the Steelers win, the Steelers will have a first round bye. But I'm predicting both the Ravens and the Steelers will win, resulting in the Ravens having a first round bye. Next up, the big game of the week, pretty much for the AFC playoff picture, the Chiefs at the Broncos. Since the Broncos didn't win last weekend, they could have won and got in, but they didn't. And the Raiders didn't lose, so now we have this whole big thing. It's going to be a mess all in the end. The Broncos need to win to get in the playoffs, but the Raiders need the Broncos to lose, so they have a chance to get in the playoffs. But seeing as the Broncos are playing the Chiefs, the Chiefs are saying they're not going to lay down, but I still say the Broncos are going to win and finally clinch their playoff spot, seeing as they're going to win their division. Next up, Chargers Raiders. I'm saying the Raiders are going to win, but I don't see them. I see the Broncos winning and the Raiders winning, resulting in the Broncos getting in the playoffs. So next up, we have the Seahawks and the Cardinals. Both of these teams not going to the playoffs. The Cardinals will get that last week victory. And probably the biggest game of the week, the Cowboys and the Giants. The winner goes to the playoffs. Cowboys, with Romo having that injured hand from last week. That's the biggest concern for the Cowboys. But I've seen the Giants, just give it away in the end. So I'm picking the Cowboys to get the playoff spot. Hopefully Romo will be healthy enough with his hand to pass the ball effectively. But that's all. That's it for week 17. We'll see what happens on Sunday, and then we'll be covering the playoffs as they pan out. So this is Picks on the Bluff signing off. See you next week.